Alright everyone, I'm back. Spent a lot of time on this. I got a couple pages here of notes that I want to talk about. So, this I've actually done some research for. I'm not just going off the top of my head like I do for my movie reviews. But this is my review for Lecrae's new album, Restoration. And it's good, okay? I want to go ahead and just get what I thought about the album out before I go start breaking it down. I was excited when Lecrae said he's gonna release an album. I was like, alright, there's a new Lecrae album on the way. I didn't like Let the Trap Say Amen as much as I usually like his music, and ATWT I like though. I remember when it came out being kind of not liking it that much, but I don't remember why. I still listen to it a lot. But there was something different with Let the Trap Say Amen, I felt like, and I didn't jam with that one that much, even though I do still listen to a lot of the songs on that album. So when I heard he was coming with a new one, I'm like, yes, let's go. And I remember thinking, I hope it's not there's just something in Let the Trap Say Amen that I didn't connect with as much. And when the title came out, Restoration, I was like, yes. 100%, because everyone that follows Lecrae, I feel like we all still supported him, but I feel like we all knew that there was something going on. It's like there's something going on maybe. And when he dropped the title for the album, Restoration, he did it with a sign. It was like a sign, and it said, Restoration is coming. And I just remember smiling and being like, okay, here we go. Lecrae's back. And I don't like using that, he was gone, or oh, he was off for a while, because like I said, the music was still good. I just didn't like it as much as I liked his other stuff, So that's not really the best phrase, oh, Lecrae's back, or oh, Lecrae's back, because you're not gonna get the same Lecrae as After the Music Stops, Rebel. That type of hip hop is it evolves, hip hop evolves, and his music has evolved. The first single dropped, Set Me Free, and I remember liking it, and I reacted to the music video, as you can check it out on the channel, and it was okay, but then I found myself jamming to it a little bit more. I was like, yo, this song it's kind of fire, low-key, the song hits. And then after that, he dropped Deep End, and Deep End took a little bit more time for me to actually, I honestly don't know why. Maybe it just kind of felt darkish, maybe, a little bit, for me. But once I listened to it, and for some reason the lyrics just hit me that one time, and I jammed to Deep End all the time. There are so many lyrics in there, they're just crazy. I've got some of them written down in here when we get to it. And then after that, he dropped Drown with John Legend in it, and that was immediate. The first time I heard it, I was just like, this is a new classic. This one, it was just, there was just something about it, this is good. After that one, he dropped Zombie, and I can't even, when he dropped Zombie, that song, I swear the day he dropped it, I listened to it probably 8 times. Just every time I got in the car. And even to this day, just about every time I get into the car, I gotta play Zombie. So with those 4 songs, it gave me I'm just this album is going to be crazy. And then news drops. Lecrae is retiring through Rapzilla live video. And I'm like, wait. It's he's giving us his album, and after everything he's been through, the title, Restoration, and then this comes up, Lecrae retiring from music, and I was like, boom. I was like, this album is gonna be crazy. Because once, all the songs on it were already, they're already all good. And then, on top of that, just knowing that it's going to be, his retirement album, I was like, he's not holding back anymore. Like this, he's going to just like unleash it on this one. So from then on, I was like, I had my hopes super high up. I've been like, this is like my most anticipated album in a long time. I don't remember the last time I was this ready for an album to come out, honestly. This album, it's great. Like, if this is his retirement album, it is his retirement album, essentially. And I'm okay with that. With the message throughout the album, he really tells you what he went through and what God did through him and how God brought him out of it and how he's restored now. And honestly, with that, that's a great way to just like retire. And on top of that, he's got a book coming out. It's supposed to tell like the whole story that the music doesn't. I know like he said like the music is just kind of like a short version of the book, essentially. Like I was like, oh yeah, like kind of like chapters. Like you can read this and like you can kind of get what the book's about. The book's supposed to go like into like all the depth. I got mine pre-ordered. Okay, yeah, the album's great. I'm ready to just jump into it. So the first track on the album is called Restore Me. I saw it, I'm like, this is gonna be an intro. It's gonna be great. And it's not like super upbeat or anything, but it's him dealing with like the hate that people like, cause you know like, he's never had like the best criticism, I guess, like, or whatever. Like, Christian people be saying Lecrae's like fake, and then the worldly people, you know, don't want to like, oh, he's a Christian rapper. We ain't playing that. You know, like he's got it tough. They do, and so he has to deal with all that hate. And he talks about when he even lost faith for a little bit, like what's going on, or he was starting to question faith. Maybe he didn't like totally lose it or anything. And then at the end of the song, around the end of the song, they say, "How'd you get out?" He said, "I said a prayer." And then it goes into like this chorus. It's someone singing, or not chorus, like just like the outro to the song, where they're like saying like, "Use my pain and my hurt to grow me and to restore me." And I guess that was the prayer that he prayed. Also, there's a documentary. Watch the documentary. It's on Lecrae's YouTube channel called The Road to Restoration. There's 3 parts. Watch that. Second song on the album is Set Me Free, which was the first single featuring YK Osiris. Is that how you say that name? I can't remember how it seems spelled right now, but it's good. It talks about, it's saying like, get these shackles off me. The shackles, you know, meaning the burdens of like all the hate and all this. He's asking God to set him free, right? Like, set me free of this so I can be happy, so I can do things for you. And it happens. He is set free. The next song is called Wheels Up. Has a guy in it named Mark E. Bassi, I think is how you'd say that. He was in one of the Summer 18, or Summer 22, Summer 18, that was like 2 years ago. Summer 20 songs with Andy Mineo. That's the only 2 songs I've heard of him in, these 2 songs. He has a really good voice. In Wheels Up, he says, he's talking about his fans and such, and saying, I hope someone prays for me. And that's something I know, like, when I was like questioning Lecrae, or not questioning him, like, I feel like there's something going wrong here, there's something not right. I would sit there and I'm like, why am I saying this and not just be praying for him, right? Because like I was saying, all the pressure he's under, I mean, like, being like, having all that fame while trying to maintain your faith, and then just like trying to like maneuver through fame, you know? And I fall short of that for sure. I'm like, I should honestly be praying for all these people in Hollywood that got the faith, for them to keep it up. He has a line in the song that said, when you're on cruise control, that's where you lose control. And I think that has to do with kind of like being lukewarm, probably just like kind of going with the flow. You just kind of go with the flow, and you lose track. You're not growing. You're not pushing yourself. You're not, what's the term? Getting out of your comfort zone. Probably. I think that's what that means. If not, that's the way I took it. At one point, he said he didn't want to rap no more. He said he's lost sight, and he's like, I don't even want to rap anymore. But God brought him back to it. There's one little line in the song, towards the end of the song, he says, I'm finally free. Which, the past song was Set Me Free, and in this song he says, I'm finally free. So he's broke the chains. Like, I don't care about the doubt. I don't care about the burdens. Like, I'm free. God set me free. Next song, Over the Top. It sounds like a bragging rights song at first. Like, he's basically just like, you'd say, oh, he's just being cocky and bragging. But you gotta listen to the whole song. He says stuff like his Nike deal, how he made $1 million, how he has all the plaques and awards. You know, he's talking about his rollie, somehow he started an independent label. He's talking about his hitting #1 on the billboards. He talks about how he met other famous rappers, how he met President Obama, and he's just like, and you think he's bragging, but he's not. He says this song is like the verse where Paul says like, oh yeah, I've done this, but I count it all as loss. Like, it doesn't matter. And that's like essentially the message behind that song. And he also released a music video for this one that I just reacted to today, so you can check that out. One of my favorite lines in the song though is when he said that the Illuminati theory, I killed that or something, because everyone thought he was in the Illuminati, and he shut that down. When he's talking about like all these things he doesn't care about, he says that fame can be like crack. Like, you can get addicted to fame too. Like, you get up there and you're just like, oh, well, I'm famous, I gotta keep doing things to get more fame. But he's saying he don't care about that type of stuff. He said at one point, he says, give me God, you know, like that's what matters. Next song, Self-Discovery. This one's one of the more like kind of like calmish ones. It doesn't go real hard or anything. It's more of him just like storytelling. And he talks about like not having his dad around and how other family members have hurt him. And he talks about how Jesus healed a branch in his family tree, that where he didn't have a like an earthly father, he had God, you know. And he also talks about like, because I saw this in his Q&A today, he talks about, he said he was really just him trying to figure out who he is as a person, being like a black man in America, and trying to find himself as a Christian too. And it's all about that. And then the next song is called Deep End, one of the singles. Also got a music video reaction for that. It's him coping with the death of George Floyd, and like that, and then all the other killings. And he talks about how he's gonna just be quiet, be silent. He's trying to save his voice. He said, but y'all gave me no choice. He said, the world's going mad, I can't ignore this noise, is what he says. So like, he's like, I got to make a song about this. And the song is really about just like being depressed, like getting down because of all this. I'm talking about going off the deep end. And he talks about it's hard to say something on social media. It's hard to speak up because there's like a thing like people say F you and what you believe in. It's kind of hard to like speak up in your mind about things, especially when you have a platform, because if someone doesn't agree with you, they're gonna just like cut you off, you know. And then just stating in the like the hook of the song, I guess, he says, I've been doing better than I was before. So he's already like saying that he's already like being restored. And then he says like, I'll walk with the limp because I've been wrestling with the Holy Ghost, which is a reference to Jacob, I believe, in the Bible, who in a dream wrestles with God, and when he wakes up, dream, it was so intense that when he wakes up, he has a limp. He has to walk with a limp. So that's like a reference to that. And he says like I said, you know, he's like getting depressed and all, going off the deep end. He talks about how he almost lost his grip, but God reminded him that he's holding on to it. So, but that's the point of the song. But this is just one of the bars in the song that is like my favorite. He says, low key, he got the keys to the kingdom, and I'm high key low enough for him to bring them. I love that bar. Every time I hear it, I say, some heat. Next song, Drown, featuring John Legend. Like I said, this one's just, it's great, it's upbeat, and it tackles real issues. Like, it's not like a super, super happy song. It's like, it's a calling out, is what the song is. He's asking God to tell him that he will never let him down. And like, in the chorus, he says, if I had one call, would you answer it? You know, like when you get arrested, you get your one phone call, right? And you hope your one phone call, whoever you call, they're gonna pick it up, and they're gonna come help you get out. So that's what that is. Like, if I had one call, would you answer it? Like, can I depend on you? He talks about how, like, hope is the only thing that was keeping him sober. Hope in God. Good song. Very recommended. I made a music video reaction for that, and Lecrae took it down. Or not Lecrae himself, but someone from Rich Records. I don't know why. They haven't taken down any of the rest of my stuff. It's all good though. I have no hard feelings. But the next song is called Saturday Night. It's got a girl in it named Josie. I think that's how you say that. She's a very good singer. And he talks, he says something about drugs. He's like, I don't like drugs, but could fame be one? And kind of like earlier, you can get addicted to fame just like anything else. He talks about how he was chasing the worldly ways, how he started smoking, how he started drinking at one point, and he was saying that in the chorus it says something like, you thought you were alive, but you were dreaming all this time. Wake up. So with that part, that's Saturday Night. But it transitions to a song called Sunday Morning. It's like a two-part song basically. And Sunday Morning starts with someone telling him to put his church clothes on, which is, I don't know if it's a reference, but it's just like, oh, church clothes, like that, can be safe. But then the chorus of Sunday Morning says, every time I wake up, I get a chance to wake up. Like, just talking about, you gotta just like stay, what's the word? You just gotta like always be watching, you know? You just gotta wake up, keep waking up in here. Don't get like lukewarm, I guess, kind of. In this one, he says something like, I thought I was finished, but Jesus told me to keep going, you know? So, that was him talking about, like, he thought he was done rapping, but God's like, no, you gotta keep doing this. And he talks about, he had a failing marriage at one point, and he says at one point that God just like hit the refresh button, right? So, I think this is like where like the restoration is coming. He's like, he talks about where he was at. You thought you were alive, but you were dreaming all this time. It's time to wake up. So he woke up, and God hit the refresh button, and he's restored. And Kirk Franklin's in the end of the song, and I kind of wish he got to sing or something. He could just kind of just like, he says something. I don't really know if it's a poem or anything. I don't think it was. He's just kind of just giving like a motivational type thing. And it's pretty good. Next song, Zombie. Arguably my favorite. Arguably my favorite, I guess. How you say it. He talks about, it's a pretty heavy song too, actually. It's like, it's real feel good and like upbeat, but the content is actually kind of heavy. It talks about like, it's symbolism. He said like, I'm a zombie because I was like, I'm chasing after my flesh. Like my flesh wants fame, my flesh wants the women, my flesh wants the new car. Yeah, like drugs, alcohol. Like the flesh craves that. But God awakened me, and I'm not a zombie anymore. It's basically the gist of that song. And the next song is called Keep Going, which is about like him saying he wanted to quit rapping. God's like, you gotta keep going. He talks about, he says something like, I can't quit, I gotta keep going. And in it, he mentions the 116 movement, my click is still 116, or something like that. At one point he says, I've gotten too far to let it go. Which I think is like what I was saying earlier about him crossing over to mainstream. Like he's gotten into mainstream now, he can't just quit. He's gotta do something, you know? And this is my favorite part in this song. He says, if I die and they bury me, tell them I'll be back to finish my reps. That, like, you just wanna pull over when you're in your car and just sit and think about that. Like, okay, I die. It's like, but he's talking about the second coming, the rapture. Not the rapture, the second coming, I guess. Man, I've got my revelations mixed up right now. When we come back with Jesus, the Christians, you know, he's like, I'll be back. If I die, don't worry, I'll be back. The next song is called Still, which is a love song about his wife and about him. I think it has like the perspective of both, just wanting to still be together, hence the name Still. So that's that song. For all you out there that have yourself a good wife or a good husband, that song you can relate to. Me, not so much yet, but I'm looking forward to it one day. The next song, Only Human. What do you think it's about? It's about sin, but it's like, oh, but I'm only human, you know, or like people's expectations of you. And the chorus says, heaven's not too far as I can tell. But sometimes you just have to go through a little hell, is what it says. And I mean, like, that's, I think it's kind of like, you know, like, the end days, like, every day you're getting closer to the end of the world. So, like, it's not as far, and, like, it just keeps getting worse, so it's probably not that far away, honestly. But to get there, you have to go through all the bad stuff. And Lecrae has been going through all the bad stuff these past couple of years. He's been going through all that, and now he's been restored, and he's getting closer, and he's seeing like heaven for what it like is. I guess like he feels like he's closer to heaven now, you know. After being restored, he's like gotten closer to God and stuff. And he talks about forgiveness. You know, we're only humans. And then he has a bar in this one, like, when they see my flaws, they'll call me a fraud. And that's just talking about how judgmental people are. I mean, everyone's judgmental. The world's judgmental. Your Christian brothers can be judgmental. It's just something that you have to deal with, especially when you have a platform like he does. Like, if I mess up, they're gonna call me fake. And that's not the case. He's only human. Like, he's going to mess up. And people want to get mad at him that, oh, you're fake, all this. It's like, yo, hold up. He ain't perfect. Just like, he's a person just like you. He just happens to be in the light. You know, like, people are watching him. So, the last song of the album, Nothing Left to Hide. Y'all, this song, I told one of my friends tonight, when I heard this song, I literally wanted to pull over where I was driving, just get out and run around my car a couple of times. I know I screamed at one point, like, oh, it's just like, the bars, man, in the song. He don't hold back in the song. Like I say, it's his retirement album. He's getting it off. The song's called Nothing Left to Hide. He's just like, shooting straight, like, here you go. He just gives the facts about what he thinks, about what people think about him. He doesn't care anymore. And for the people who thinks he's too Christian, he's like, look, I'm not ashamed of any of this. And for the people who think he's too worldly, he has a bar in there somewhere about who cares if they think I'm saved enough. Like, he knows he's saved. He doesn't need other people just saying, like, is he really a Christian and like all this, but like, I don't care about all that. And one of my favorite, this is probably, oh man, I don't know if this is my favorite bar in the song or not, but he says, they be tripping when they see a Christian, like we're over religious and trying to bring conviction. And that, like, oh man, that's so good. Like, when people like hear like you're a Christian or something, they're just gonna be like, oh, well, they're probably gonna judge me for what I'm doing and all this. It's like, no, we're all human. Like the other song, like, ain't nothing, like, just because I believe in God doesn't mean that I'm going to like be like that and trying to like make you feel convicted, or like try to like just like push everything that I believe down your throat, or like, you know, like, I don't know. I just thought that was a really, really good bar in there. And he even says in it, he's like, I ain't a picture of perfection. I'm human. He even talks about how he, like, at one point he was smoking and drinking, which he referenced that in one of those songs, and like in Drown, they talk about it. And at one point he says, what's the point in life if there isn't a God? And I was like, that's facts. That's just fire. That's it. That's just a fire line. He says, when he said this, I almost like kind of wanted to shed a tear. I was like, oh man, like that just became real. He says, this might be an end of a long run. And I was like, okay, I guess I have to deal with him actually retiring now. Still saddens me to talk about. Let's keep talking. This might be my favorite line in the song. He says, I got it wrote down right here, I ain't finger pointing at nobody, but if the shoe fits, go ahead and wear it, bro. Like, when he says something, he's like, I'm not trying to convict you and all this, but if I say something and you're convicted, Like, that's not my fault. Or, you know, like, you just hear that saying, like, well,
the shoe fits.
so, like, when this, like, if the shoe fits, go ahead and wear it, bro. It's like, oof. That's when I wanted to stop the car and get it and run around. When I heard that, I'm not even joking. And the chorus of this song says, I'm trying to make it right, so I got nothing left to hide. Like, I'm getting close to retirement, and I'm trying to make it right. Because he's like, I know that, I guess he's saying he knows that he was off. And like I said, I think most of his fans knew that there was something going on. He's just like, I'm trying to make it right. I didn't want to leave y'all. I didn't want to just quit. God said I gotta keep going. Here's this album. I got nothing left to hide. Nothing. And that, my friends, is my Lecrae restoration review. So that was actually kind of just dissected it. But I hope y'all enjoyed this. I want to know y'all's thoughts on the album, and just let's talk about it, you know? Let's talk about it. I don't know what else to say. So I got some other Lecrae videos for you to check out. I got other album reviews. I got a subscribe button, a like button. And I've never said this before, but there's actually like a bell down there you can ring if you're trying to like get notifications for my videos. If not, I will see y'all next time.